going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome back to another episode of this week's Dragon Ball Q&A video, where today we have lots of awesome questions to go through, courtesy of your questions having to be posted down below. And before I begin, I do want to let you guys know that each individual question posted onto this video is going to be directly reflected onto you guys, as I would like to know your answers as to each question posted down in the comment section below. And of course, if you guys have any questions to ask me of your own, it pertains to Dragon Ball, make sure to go on ahead and drop your questions down in the comment section below. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button and enable all notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel, in conjunction to news, information, updates, and discussions. Hashtag notification squad. As we kick things off with the first question of the day, which comes from Kumar. Yo, what's up, Alex? Huge fan of your content. I just followed you on Snapchat and I love you, dude. Thank you. Keep doing what you do. Here are some questions I have for you and your audience, if you don't mind. Question 1. What if Daishinkan fought against Vegito, Blue or Ultra Instinct? Would Vegito have a chance? Question 2. If you could look back now, what would you change about Mastered Ultra Instinct in terms of executing its concept? Would you agree with the way it was used and mastered? Question 3. I just recently watched your What If Gogeta versus Merge Zamasu discussion. Do you believe Gogeta's fusion would time out before killing Zamasu, or would Zamasu still endure and beat Gogeta? Thank you so much, Unreal. Thank you so much, Kumar. Well, to answer your first question, I'm sorry to say, but Daishinkan is on a different level. I think that if Daishinkan were to fight Blue Vegito loses. And I think that universally that could be agreed upon. However, Ultra Instinct, it may be a tad bit different. I would still say Daishinkan stomps Ultra Instinct Vegito. However, when it comes to Mastered Ultra Instinct Vegito, I'm not so sure about that one. I mean, you could toss a coin in saying, you know, Daishinkan could win, or Mastered UI Vegito could take the, the cake on this one, but it's really hard because we don't really know as to the depths as to what the Daishinkan can do in terms of his feats, his overall, durability. We don't know anything about this dude. So within a time span, Daishinkan could easily fodder Vegito, or maybe this could be a contest to where it results in a stalemate. So I'm not so sure as to what would be the end result, because if you were to take a Mastered UI Vegito, the scaling on that dude would literally break everything. Like, you would break all forms of scaling just even giving that character Mastered UI. I think that in a fair fight, Blue Vegito versus Daishinkan, Blue Vegito loses. Whether or not you want to give him Kaioken times 10, Kaioken times 20, Vegito still loses. Ultra Instinct, the imperfected form, I still think Daishinkan could work his way around that and beat him. However, when it comes to Mastered Ultra Instinct, that is something that's completely different. I would say Vegito has a chance then, but aside from Mastered UI, I don't think Vegito stands a chance. That's just my opinion, of course. Now, to answer your second question, if I could look back now, what would I change about Mastered Ultra Instinct in terms of execution and concept? If I were to actually include Mastered UI, I would have it to where the form would be introduced in another arc. I would marinate and I would further allow the incompleted UI form in another arc to be introduced again, and have that kind of play into effect of Goku mixing it, with his powers more often and tapping back into that power. I wouldn't have it to where Goku masters it so quickly as he did. I think that they pretty much wrote themselves in the corner with that one. If I were to continue Dragon Ball Super with another arc, I would have Mastered UI either be introduced then, or maybe in the 7th arc. But, having it be mastered and introduced in the same arc within 48 minutes of the tournament, it was kind of like, okay, well, what more could you do? We saw what Mastered UI Goku did, and he was incredible. So, I mean, in terms of its concept, I would say to an extent it grew upon me. I would definitely change the design. I would incorporate a bit more to his design instead of just having him look plain old white. I mean, to me that was just boring. In terms of his abilities were off the charts. I felt like we were witnessing, Goku at his peak. And that was his peak because it's translated in saying that Mastered UI is the be-all end-all for Goku's, Ultra Instinct being. He was basically indestructible. I mean, he was unbeatable at that point. So I just felt as if the execution was done very poorly, because they could have given us this concept down the line in another arc in allowing Goku to have a rematch with Beerus, an official rematch with Beerus, nothing to where it just drags on or whatever. Like, I mean, who doesn't want to see that, you know? I mean, literally everybody would want to see a official rematch between Goku and Beerus, you know, with episodes included, not just like something where it's like half-assed or whatever. So, you know, that would have been cool to see. And we have the movie coming up as well, so that's going to be amazing to even see what's going to happen there. But I felt as if Mastered UI ought to have been introduced, you know, down the line instead of them just, you know, throwing it in our faces. Do I think this is the last time we'll see Mastered UI? Of course not. But I just really disagree with him having to master it so quickly. I would have had it to where it's just UI Goku versus Jiren, and that would have been it. And if they wanted to bring back the show, you know, I would have it to where Mastered UI comes into play and Goku finally masters that power, and then, you know, that takes him into like a different sector of the story to where now we see him mastering that ability and, you know, going toe-to-toe with Beerus or even Whis while training in that matter. So to answer your third question, Gogeta versus Zamasu, in case you guys have missed out those videos, I still stand on the idea that with Zamasu's immortality, it's very difficult. People tend to forget that. How could you kill something that really can't die, you know? And in those two discussion videos, part 1 and part 2, we pretty much talked about the concept of what it would be like if Gogeta did fight Zamasu, and I feel like Gogeta would do okay. I just don't think, you know, Gogeta would kill him. I don't think Gogeta would be anywhere near Zamasu in terms of killing him off officially. I think that Gogeta would have a hard time just because Zamasu is immortal, and it would have been so cool to see Gogeta Blue, you know, be introduced in the show for once in terms of canon. But also, I think that with Gogeta's fusion time, that would have made a world of difference, because I think that the same thing that we saw in GT were to happen, and where, you know, if he were to fight Zamasu, I think that his timer would expire and he would be susceptible to getting attacked. Gogeta, I think, would have been a great fit, and then having Vegito in the Tournament of Power. In case you guys have missed out that discussion, I did that on my channel as well. You know, what if Vegito was introduced in the Tournament of Power? But I just feel like, in my opinion, Gogeta would put up a great fight, but in the long run, I think he would lose due to either his timer expiring or simply based on Zamasu being able to endure more than what Gogeta can put out, and thus tiring him out. So either way, Kumar, thank you so much for your questions, bro, and I hope you have a fantastic day, my friend. And now moving on to the next question, which is from Deep. Hey, I've been watching you for about 3 years, and I wanted to tell you that you've been a big inspiration to me and my brother. Thanks, man. You aren't just a YouTuber, but you're also a wrestler, and that's really awesome. We never knew that you were into combat sports, but that's really awesome since you also love Dragon Ball. It fits, right? But me and my brother have some questions we put together to ask you for your Q&A, if you don't mind. Also, do you have Discord? We would love to talk to you sometime. Okay, here are our questions. Well, I do have Discord. In case you guys are not following me at Twitter, follow me at Twitter, and I will give you guys the link. I normally have the link on there, so make sure you guys are following me at Twitter or Snapchat, wherever it is you guys are following me at. I will give you guys the link if you guys send me a message. So question 1 is from him. What would be your ideal direction for another Dragon Ball show in the future? Question 2, my brother. What did you think about Sumitomo's score for Super? Question 3, which is from Deep. Do you think Dragon Ball should ever do a direct crossover with Dragon Ball Xenoverse's story like a Demon Realm? Ooh. Question 4, my brother, who is your favorite character in Dragon Ball Super? That's a hard one. Thank you guys so much for your questions, by the way. Now, to answer your first question, the ideal direction for the Dragon Ball show in the future. In case you guys haven't seen already, I did a video talking about the future of the Dragon Ball franchise and breaking everything down. And in that video, it really brought me back, because approximately 4.5 years ago, I did a very similar video talking about the Dragon Ball Z project and the future of the series in which I would like to see it go in. And 4 years later, I did another video after Super is over talking about the exact same thing in terms of direction and what I would like to see. So make sure you guys check that video out, as you guys can see on screen. And to simplify things the best way I can, the ideal direction for me for the future of Dragon Ball would be, if there would be another show, I would love to see a follow-up execution as to the end of Super. I would love to see what they can do with exploring more of the, you know, lore of the gods. As you said, there are so many things they could have gone off of. We had the universes that were exempt. We have, you know, as you said in your question, the demon realm. We had so much that we can explore. My ideal direction is to see Goku and Vegeta continue their story alongside everybody else. However, as opposed to Goku and Vegeta, I would love to see development from Gohan some more, Piccolo, you know, those characters, because they really did mean a lot. And even, you know, Kaba, seeing what he, you know, he's been up to. Possibly everybody has been wanting to see this, the origins of Hit, how he became an assassin, what his story's like, because we saw briefly the story of Jiren, and we know more about like what he was all about. So, you know, diving more into that. But I mean, it's all up in the air as to what they want to do. Could Dragon Ball eventually continue? Of course it can. We saw the events of Super take place in between Z and GT, and they pretty much explained a lot of things that happened in between as we went into the ending with Dragon Ball Super. So for me, the ideal direction would be to create another show that simply picks up off the events of Super, except only this time the writing makes more sense. We have, you know, actual in-depth analysis on transformations and further explanations as to what's what and where certain characters stand. But you know, anything is possible, and I really do feel like in the future we are going to see another show. It's just a matter of time as opposed to like when, you know. To answer your second question, Sumitomo's music for Super was amazing, and I will go on record right now and say this: Sumitomo's music is way better than Bruce Falconer. I'm saying that right now because I was always a Bruce Falconer fan when I was a kid, when I was growing up, and that music, you know, always resonated with me, because I grew up watching the original dub, and over time, over many years, I grew to appreciate the Japanese score for Z, Dragon Ball's music, the original Dragon Ball, GT to an extent, and then, you know, Super, and I think Super had the best soundtrack. I mean, you may disagree with me, you may agree with me, that's just my opinion. I think Sumitomo's music was absolutely phenomenal. I loved so many of his tracks that it just boggles me as to how many there are. I listen to them on a daily when I go to the gym. You know, when I'm editing a video, I have some Sumitomo scores in the background. So Sumitomo, I think, did phenomenal. I mean, I never would have thought I would, you know, gravitate towards his soundtrack that much, but it really was good. So if they were to continue with the next movie and the next show, I would say, you know, incorporate Sumitomo's score, incorporate his music, because that guy deserves so much respect and so much props for what he did in Super in terms of scoring everything, and by far the best soundtrack I've ever heard in Dragon Ball, in my opinion. So to answer your third question, a crossover with Xenoverse's story. See, the thing with that is, that would be so cool to see, like a what if story, you know, for them diving into like the demon realm and stuff, exploring or introducing Mira and Toa, you know, stuff like that. That would be really cool, introducing like the Supreme Kai of Time and whatnot, but I'm not so sure if they could write that story in there, because for me, I would love to see a demon god like Demigra. I would love to see the demon realm for once as to what exists in there. I would love to see the story of the Makaioshin as to where they are and what they're up to and how powerful they would be and their influence. I would love to see a further story, you know, involving the fabrics of time being distorted, you know, unlike, you know, sort of like similar to Trunks' story, except on a much larger scale, you know. I would love to see these things because I feel like it would hold weight, and if they were to do that, they could add in so many twists and turns to the story that would coincide with the narrative. And I think that, you know, in my opinion, that will never happen. Well, I don't think we'll ever get to see a Xenoverse-esque story be embedded in the future of a Dragon Ball show, because Xenoverse is its own thing, and with the Toki Toki concept, with the Toki Toki egg, the Supreme Kai, all that stuff, you know, they're not gonna do that. But I think that it would be a great story to have something involving time and it affecting reality itself, you know, like, you know, Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, everybody else trying to gather together and stopping this one enemy, maybe Demigra, whoever it is you want it to be, preventing this enemy from further destroying the fabrics of time, which can affect all of reality. So, you know, they could easily do that. Is it possible for them to you know, tell that kind of a story and kind of like, you know, have that be a crossover? Of course they can, but I don't think that they would ever do that, because it just seems a bit too much for them to write into the show, and I don't think they would have the skill set in telling and executing a good story with that. So now, to answer your final question, favorite character from Dragon Ball Super, there have been a lot, and I'll just say this: Vegeta, because of his development. He had tremendous development in Super. Vegeta was the man. Every single time Goku was down and out, Vegeta would clutch. Vegeta had great moments in Super with Jiren, Toppo, Hit, Black, Frieza, everything. I mean, the guy had funny moments with, you know, his family. He had funny moments with Goku. Vegeta, definitely my favorite. Goku as well. Goku had tremendous development as well. Another one of my favorites. You know, we saw Mastered UI. We saw his fight with Jiren. Even though in the beginning of the Tournament of Power, he was kind of clunky and wonky and just very immature about things, but Goku has always been a favorite of mine as well. I really enjoyed Beerus because of his overall demeanor and his ruthlessness sometimes when it came to him just speaking to Goku. Champa because of his comedic relief. He was one of those like sloppy, fat, out of shape, you know, egotistical kind of gods, and I really did enjoy that because he presented a bit of personality. I really enjoyed Hit because he was like this ominous figure that you didn't really know his story, but you knew he was a killer. So you know that he was, you know, all about business instead of just trying to like do something on a personal level. Jiren because he was OP'd as hell, and I could resonate with his backstory. And I feel like, you know, with his overconfidence and him wanting to put strength above anything else, that can coincide with a lot of things that people can relate to. Other characters as well, I would have to say characters like, I really enjoyed, for some reason, I really did enjoy Black. I mean, because Black was one of my favorites, man. Black was, his overall demeanor was just ruthless. He would go in there and he would stab you. He would do whatever it would take for him to prove his point. So he showed no mercy, and I really did enjoy that. Frieza as well. Frieza in Dragon Ball Super was done great. I felt like with his resurrection, with the way he came back, everything was just, I think, phenomenal. I didn't think I would like Frieza as much as I did then, and I really do. Like, Frieza grew upon me a lot. There are other characters as well. I really enjoyed Vegito Blue. I really enjoyed, you know, seeing Arale once again. So, you know, that was all fine and dandy, but I think that those are the characters for now until I have to sit down and really think about it, because there were so many characters introduced. It's like you can't really pin it on just one or two, you know, like there's so many of them. But either way, Deep, thank you so much for your questions, bro. Thank you for you and your brother having to come on here and just ask me that. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And once again, everybody, I do want to say thank you all so very much for watching this edition of the Dragon Ball Q&A video. I really hope you guys had a good time. If there's any questions you guys want to ask me, let me know in the comment section below as to what it is, and I will make sure to feature your question in the upcoming video. Make sure you guys are following me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, all that good jazz. Like I said before in the beginning, I will leave links to all those down below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button, guys. Turn on all notifications to be notified whenever a brand new video is posted. Tune back in for more. We're going to be doing more Q&As. If you guys want to see more frequent Q&As, you guys got to let me know and just give me some feedback as to what you guys want to see, when you want to see it, and we'll make sure to feature more for you guys in the foreseeable future, in the near future, I would have to say, because these Q&As are great, and getting your perspective and your comments and your questions and seeing your feedback was also tremendous. So once again, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys in the next Dragon Ball video. Take it easy, guys. Cue my outro, bitch.